Hey everybody, what is going on today? Totally different video content this week. Been getting a lot of requests to do some shop videos, not just the cabin stuff. So guess what? It's getting cold. There's snow coming in the forecast. Is your machine ready for what's coming soon? I'm going to show you how I do it. Not everybody does it, but this is how I do it. This is my way. Small engine mechanic, licensed 35 years now. I've done these things. I've seen a couple of them. I'm going to take you guys through a quick rundown. We're going to take a quick run around this Snowthrower, and I'm going to show you everything you have to do. It's so funny too, because so many times over the years somebody will call me, I got a flat tire in my machine, can you fix it? And I say, well, yeah, sure. Do you want it tuned up? Well, I have it there. Oh no, I changed the oil myself. I want to tell you, my friends, there's so much more than changing oil to tuning up a Snowthrower. So let's check it out and see what goes on. And it's funny that when I do a tune-up, actually, speaking of changing oil, it's normally the first part of the procedure the way I do it. So I'm going to test the machine. I'm going to see if this guy will run first. If it will run, I'm going to get my exhaust fan here so I don't smoke us out of here. I'm going to do about a 5-minute warm-up on it, and then I'm going to dump the oil, and then we're going to start going through everything I do when it's sitting in this position. Then once that stuff's all done, I stand it up on its nose, and then I go underneath for the down and dirty stuff. So let's check it out. So I spun the machine around to my hoist here. I'm going to go around now. I'm going to get the exhaust fan going just in case it starts. I don't need the carbon monoxide in here. And we're going to go through the procedure starting up this Snowthrower. See, I've got the hose here, and that's what I use. And I got to make a hood for this. It's going to be a new project coming up real soon, is to make some kind of hood fan that I can hang over here, because right now I have to manually hold this, but it still works. If this old girl will go. Well, there you go. Did a 5-minute warm-up on it. Time to spin it back around the other direction here now with one hand. And we're going to dump the oil in this bad boy, and then we're going to go through some of the rest of the procedure. Show you what I do when I tune up a Snowthrower. The funny thing is, a lot of my customers watch this channel, so you guys are going to get to see behind the scenes for a change. This happens a lot. The pipe is spinning. This is pipe thread. You have clamp vice grips on it to get this off. If not, you'll spin it right out of the engine block. There she goes. Safe from making a mess. Okay, now that I have the oil on the way out, I normally go in underneath. I put a spark plug in first, which you're going to laugh I'm actually waiting for. I'm going to take the old plug out. My parts order isn't here yet, and I don't have a spark plug here to even put in this bad boy, but I'm going to in a few minutes when my parts get here, because I ran out. Very common spark plug. Well, let's hope these screws come out. These are famous for these seizing in and not coming out. Briggs & Stratton engine. 249cc. This guy is, I believe, 250 actually. 250cc. They're about a 9 horsepower, 8.5, 9. They're a good engine. Not bad for what they are. These ones have a couple quirks. They're known, the exhaust, the muffler on these, they're known for the muffler going bad here. This will all crack this bracket. I've seen the muffler itself want to fall right off. There's a lot of vibration in this little engine. Anyway, spark plug time. Not too bad, actually. A couple years old by the look of it. Not a lot of use on that, but I still, as a tune-up, always replace the spark plug. Standard procedure. I don't have a new plug, so we're going to go on to the next thing that I would do. Plugs will be here later on. My parts order gets here. Next thing I would normally... tire pressure. People can't believe how many machines come in and the tires are half flat. That one is quite firm. I don't even have to put a gauge on it. Let's check this guy. Not bad either. Not bad either. All right, now I normally go and check the gearbox. Sorry about the lighting in some places here. It's a bit shadowy. Right in the very front here, there's a plug, and you can check your gear grease level. You make sure your shear bolts are good. Always check those. There's not excessive play. Always check that, because you'll get all kinds of them. You'll grab those augers and they just spin. It's like you call them up. You know what? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the front end's gone in her. Most machines now aren't worth fixing when they get to that state. I'm going to get a 3/8 12-point socket, and I'm going to pull that pipe plug out of there and check the grease. Thought I had a socket. Got to use the 3/8 wrench. It's a 7/16 12-point, which I don't have here. So pull the plug out. Check the grease. Kind of dark in here, guys. Sorry. I'm going to get some better lighting. Looks pretty great, but just a normal nylon zip tie. Get down in here and see what you got. All kinds. Look at that. See that? All the oil in there. These run gear oil. Some run grease. These run gear oil. These ones are the important ones to check, because when they start to leak, if that all leaks out of there, you're in trouble. The ones that run grease, if they call it OO grease, so it's about the thickness of ketchup, it's not too bad because it doesn't normally leak out. Some machines are known to be leakers, some aren't. What you can normally do with these is you run your finger under the bottom. And if you get a bunch of oil on your fingers, you know you got a problem. Well, this one's clean anyway, right? She's not leaking, so that's a good thing. Tighten up the plug. Go to the next step. All right, next I always get into and check the belts. We're going into the belts. Going to pull the belt cover. Let's see what the belt looks like, the actual auger belt and the drive belt. There's two belts in this machine. To be honest, the auger belt looks pretty good in this. What you look for is, and I know this belt was only done a couple years ago, you check for cracks. You look at these. This is a wrapped belt, so there's a Kevlar wrapping that goes all the way around the cover of the belt. Make sure you don't see any of that coming off. No cracks in them. It'll tighten up good. Let's try it here. Yeah, that's good. There's something very important you have to check in a Toro Snowthrower, and only a Toro Snowthrower. The impeller bearing, anybody knows what that is? You have a large pulley right down here that this belt goes down around that drives everything in the front. There's a bearing that sits down in here. For some reason, these silly fellers thought it was commonplace. Here's what some manufacturers use. This is a ball bearing, okay? Watch this. Here's what Toro used, and they've done this for many, many, many moons. And there's three sizes, and I keep them all here. It's a ball socket bushing. That is the silliest thing they ever could have made. This is actually for this machine. The small, there's three different shaft sizes. Look at this. This is your standard ball bearing here that most companies, 95% of the snowblowers. This is what Toro's decided to do. It's a bronze bushing. They call it oil-lite bronze. So it's basically a porous bronze that holds oil in it. That's why they call it oil-lite. It's porous. And it's even oiling my fingers right now. But how long does that last, do you think, in there? Toro? Not long. Most of these machines, 4 to 5 years. That bearing is already gone. People don't even know it. And you know what they do? They start putting shorter belts on it. You engage it, and you hear a big clunk. The pulley lifts up and down and floating up and down in the shaft. And you hear this clunk, bang, clunk, bang, clunk, bang. So what do most guys do that don't really know how to repair snow blowers that think they do? Oh, they just put a shorter belt on it. Oh, you're good to go. You're good to go. The belt's just stretched on her by the belt stretched on her. We just put a shorter belt. She'll be good to go. Meanwhile, once it gets bad enough, it starts eating at the steel shaft down in there. Notice I keep lots of these. There's 3 different sizes. And this is another manufacturer. Actually, you want to talk crazy? I got a 4th size here. I didn't know I had so many of these. Actually, these are the same. I got about 10 of them. Anybody needs any Toro impeller bushings, I got a good stock here for a little guy in his backyard. Anyway, So this is all looking good, but that's what happens. So this machine, I know for a fact, I tuned this up like 2 years ago. So I know I put this belt on it, and I think I put that bearing in it back then. So shame on you, Toro, for never upgrading that. Shame on you for charging people a lot of money for your machines and never upgrading that. I think they finally did on the brand new ones, and congratulations, Toro. It took you about 30 years to do it. Actually, probably 40. Anyways, oil is still dripping away here, almost done. And what I normally do too, I forgot as I'm filming, I pull the dipstick out when I first start, and that way I'm not going to, by mistake, start the machine back up with no dipstick in it. So just a bit of a safety feature, and it's just a way I keep in check of what I'm doing. But anyways, okay, the belts are looking really good. What I do now is, because that is a bushing down in there, I'm going to get a tiny bit of motor oil. We're going to put her down in there. It just helps with the longevity of it. You can do it when it's up on its snout also. You can also do it here in this position. A little bit of oil in that goes a long ways. So I throw the belt cover back on, and then we're going to put the drain plug back on for the oil. I don't turn a socket anymore. I don't turn a ratchet anymore. I haven't spun a ratchet in years. Spark plugs. That's about all I use a ratchet on. Everything else is done with my sidearm here. So much easier to use. And variable speed. Like that. That's it. Alrighty. It is time. Drain plug back in for the oil. I think that's pretty much enough out of there. Yeah, she's done dripping. Two things on the Impact I don't use. Oil drain plugs either. Not just spark plugs. Spark plugs and oil drains, because you can strip both very easily. And I fixed a few of them too. Right exactly on the full mark. This won't focus in and show you, but that's how much she takes. So we've got that done, that done, that done. I'm going to do a little bit of lubrication on the shoe control here now. This bushing here gets pretty dry in these things right here. This is your joystick for your chute. This pivot point here on the chute, I'm going to spray some good lube on it, because you want to not have this run dry. And that'll get right down in. There's a bushing in there and make these things shift so much easier. That's all it takes. Most guys tune these up. I don't think they go this extra mile. And I bet you're watching, Brian. Haha. Brian Keating. You taught me well, buddy. You taught me well. I think, anyway. He's a subscriber. He watches the videos. And he's the fellow that I apprenticed under 35 years ago. Scary. How time flies. Yeah, and this is the quick stick, I think they call it on these. I just want to make sure everything's working up and down. It's all working good, right? It's centered. Anyways, yeah, the chute is working good. I can't put the cover back on right now yet for the spark plug, because I don't have my spark plug, and the order is going to be here anytime. So I think what I'm going to do now is we're going to stand it up on its nose. We're going to look underneath, see what's under there. For this part, I got to drop it back to the floor. She's got to come off the hoist and go back down to normal people land. Oh, I changed my oil myself, he says. Yeah, I bet you did. You just missed a couple things. We got the covers. A few things got to be done under here. There's 2 bolts here got to come off. There's 2 bolts down the sides here have to come off. With my Impact, my sidearm, the stuff doesn't take long. Alright? Very easy to do. And the whole bottom cover comes off. And these snow throwers, when Toro brought these out, these are quite different than other blowers on the market, for the simple reason this thing is all one piece. This framework here, as you can see, there's no connection. Most machines you can break in half. Boys, I see something's not looking good here either. This thing needs a friction disc. That's not good. Oh boy. Anybody that doesn't know how a Snowthrower drives itself, in underneath, see this? This is a wheel that has rubber on it. When I spin the tires, this turns. That's called a friction wheel. The way that people think these have transmissions, very, very few of them have transmissions. Old Toros actually had transmissions, but this is called a friction wheel drive. And what you have this rubber wheel here, and the surface is bad on this one. It's been slipping bad. It should be replaced. You have this metal plate. Well, this has a belt going around it. When the engine's running, this is turning. Wherever you locate the wheel on this disc, that's how you're changing gears. And when you shift it here, I'm just going to go a tiny bit, you guys can see, that moves it on this, which is called a hex shaft. So that's the way the drive is transferred through. And a lot of people don't know this, but that pulley turns, and when you go to engage your wheels, you pull that and see the pulleys moving up to engage that rubber wheel. Your speeds, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then come back right in the very center is neutral, back this way is reverse. Or vice versa, depending which way the shift pattern is on this. But I can actually unhook it here and just show you guys. Hang on. Shifts. See? It slides on the hex shaft. Back and forth. Forward, reverse. And that's how your speed selection is changed on these things. There's no actual transmission in them. So people think, oh, it's got transmission problems. No, it probably needs a friction disc, friction wheel. Depending on who you talk to in the trade, some of us call it discs, some of us call them wheels. But anyway, I need to put the snap ring back on this so I don't lose it. And this friction wheel is not great in this machine right now. It should be replaced. And I wish I had one, but I don't. Some of the other things I do when I service this is, I'm going to put some grease in this gear. We're going to lubricate that a little bit. And then these are a cast iron right here. This is a cast iron axle bushing. I'm going to put some motor oil on those and spin them. Then I'm going to take the wheels off. For the gear, I'm going to use actual grease for a grease gun. And you only need a tiny amount on here. You don't need a lot to lube this gear. Not nice? All kinds of grease on there now. That's all that needs. The hex shaft in there, normally you can grease that or oil. Some of the manufacturers actually say an oil cloth. Take a piece of just a rag or a cloth or whatever and pour a bit of motor oil and just wipe it on that shaft. When I look at that, because that'll seize a lot of them, you get a lot of these in that sit outside in the weather, and people don't actually service it underneath. That hex shaft will seize, and then you can't shift your gear, and she'll be stuck in whatever gear that they parked it in, 4 years ago under the old maple tree out back. So, or when it sat under the deck for 4 years uncovered. And I tell people, well, man, you got to get this thing out of the weather. Well, it sat under the deck. I say, well, you go sit under the deck the next time it's pouring rain. Let me know how you enjoy it. People. Anyway, now, little oil on the wheels. As I said, right in here, I put a bit of motor oil, just a squirt. Just a squirt in here. Spin it so it gets all in that bushing. That's a cast iron bushing these things use, right? For an axle, they call it an axle bushing. The other side, spin it, bit of oil. Bit of oil so you can pull it out. It's a bit of play there, a bit right in here. There you go, that's going in there well. You just watch how well these wheels spin just after lubricating this stuff. Watch. Check it out. This is just freewheeling. A little bit of oil. Goes a long ways. Pretty neat, eh? Still going. so much easier on your machine. So much easier on your machine. Anyways, next step is pull the wheels off. All you do, you just have a click pin. Take that pin out. Pull that wheel off. See how rusted this is? See what happens down the road when this thing sits? And then the bushings get loose, or for some reason you need to take the wheels off, put a tube in the tire, and then you can't. So, very important step. Nobody does. Brian Keating taught me this back when I apprenticed under him. Learned a lot from that man. I'm sure he's watching the video. Shout out to Brian. Good people. He's retired now. He did more of the industrial stuff, and I did more of the small, but he taught me the small. The man did everything. Very, very smart man. Proud to say he taught me a lot. Taught me some bad habits too. But hey, there's ways, and I'm not talking, you know, alcohol or drugs. I'm just talking work. Nah, good guy, good people. Here you go. Next thing we do, if I had never sees, I'd put it on. I don't feel like getting never sees all over myself today. Grease, more of this axle grease, just at EP, a general purpose. Spin it around. Anything will seal that metal so it won't rust again, right? Slam your wheel back on. Boom, bada boom, bada bing. And it's funny, back in the day, there was machines that were brand new, taking them out of the crate, sitting in a bit of humidity, and not talking Toro, other brands, and the wheels would be seized on. And we would have to do everything in our power to get those wheels off. Brutal, brutal. Now they have better clearances and all that, tolerances, that they don't seize like that. Pin in this side. Sorry about the lighting over here, lads and ladies. Probably a few ladies watching, probably not too many. Here we go, guys. That's that. What I'm also going to do, just for a safety thing, I'm going to call the customer and see if he wants a disc. But I always take brake clean and give this disc, the actual plate, a wipe. Because if there's any kind of oil residue on that plate, you won't have any grip. You won't have any traction. As bad as that rubber looks, that would last a few more years, and he may not opt to fix it, I don't know. Depending on how easy I can get a disc, I guess, for it. And it sucks because I just did a parts order yesterday. There we go, she's nice and clean in there. I always give that a wipe too. Did a parts order yesterday, but I never thought to order any discs, right? I didn't think you'd need it. Very, very uncommon that you need them. And it's funny, I have the identical Snowthrower sitting out in the portable garage out here to be tuned up next. I'm not going to film that because it's 2 in a row of the same thing. So what I'm going to do for now, I'm going to put the covers and that back on this thing and then get her down off the floor so I don't lose parts. That's the problem of working in this small shop now. I don't have room to do anything in here, so I don't want to lose any parts. If he doesn't want it done, I call this finished as soon as it gets a spark plug inserted. Some different models of Snowthrowers have little roller wheels here with cables and that on them. You grease all that stuff too. Anywhere there's a movement point, you lubricate it on a Snowthrower. Because these things get used in the harshest conditions, minus freaking 40. People want to fire them up dead cold, right into a snowbank, and give her all she's got. It's not the way to do it, but let them warm up a little bit. Anyways, guys, time to drop her down. Almost done here today. was nice to have you guys along. Kind of cool. Do it for a change. Different video content. I'm going to start changing it up a bit on the channel. I'm going to start changing it. And do more shop videos. I'm going to get into TIG welding. And I'm going to buy a small one. Just a cheapie. Amazon. I'm going to go out to Princess Auto. I want to get myself a 30-inch metal brake. Just a cheap one for bending metal and stuff. And I can start, you know, play with a TIG welder, and I want to manufacture some things. So just play around. People enjoy watching that stuff, and I know I do too. And I enjoy building things, so I need a project. Well, there you go, guys. That is how Sparky services a snow thrower. This rolls so nice and quiet now. I know the belt is good. I know the oil is good. It's going to have a new spark plug. Everything's been lubricated. Nothing really needs adjustment on it. Normally machines this old, the adjustments were done years ago, right? So once my parts get here, I get my new spark plug and that, I can finish this bad boy up and call the customer. Actually, I got to go deliver it. He's a really good customer of mine, doing this thing for years. So hope you guys like this content, something a little different. Like and subscribe if you want this, and do a shout out. Say, we need more of this stuff. We want to see how you do this or how you do that. Might even do like some of the channels do and pick up an old piece of garbage something and see if I can get it running. I don't know, an old motorcycle, old lawn tractor. Just something that looks beyond repair, an old barn find, and see if I can get her going. But I got a few ideas what I want to do. But it's time to come out here and actually make some videos, because this is where I spent a good part of my life, was doing this kind of things and fabrication. And I got a 20-ton hydraulic press here. Like, it just, and this shop's going to go through a big cleanup too. Not going to get into that right now. This place needs a cleanup. Anyways, again, like and subscribe, share the videos, guys, and any questions, reach out and ask. If nothing else, more of this content coming soon. Live simply, remain grateful. We'll talk to you very soon.